Hello, welcome to Glen Meditation and to Vancouver, BC. My voice is not very strong today. I have days like this. I sort of think we're having these wildfires here, and even though they're not close to Vancouver, the air is just full of smoke, so I sort of think it affects the voice and stuff like that. In the last few days, I've been watching some Netflix series. I watched one called What's with Wheat, and that's a thing when a bunch of nutritionists and doctors talk about what's happening with wheat. It's a very interesting documentary. And I also watched one called Afflicted, which is one that follows people that have diseases and the stuff they do to try to cure their diseases. And it's quite easy when you're watching Afflicted to kind of think these people are crazy, but I can tell you, having a disease and trying to do without modern medicine, because you realize that modern medicine is just throwing pills at your symptoms, is quite difficult to navigate. And that's what a lot of people on the show, even when I'm watching, I'm like, these people seem like they're crazy, and maybe it's psychological. That's one of our first things as humans, is to just think possibly it's the person's causing it to themselves. But that's basically my experience, and I kind of relate to some of the people on that show, and you just realize something's going on in your brain, and it's really weird. It's an internal thing, and people can't really see it. They sort of think you're acting and trying to be sick, but my attitude is, who would want to be sick? You know what I mean? It sucks. It's not something that's fun. And if you watch the What's with Wheat theory in the movie, it's basically saying that what we hear a lot about is that we're getting inundated with pesticides and breads and glutens and all these things. And these are not just average people saying this, even though a lot of people say that. In this movie, there's doctors who have done research, and they're trying to show basically how Monsanto and companies are just spraying the wheat, and that it's not even really natural for us to eat wheat in the first place, that it was kind of a sales job to get us to think of it as normal and have breakfast cereals and all this kind of stuff. The interesting thing is, though, I don't know which circles you hang out in. The circles I hang out in, most people know all this stuff. They know that there's toxins in the food, but actually knowing that and then actually not having the products is a different story. Everything surrounds us. We have addictions. We have all these things. And I think the biggest thing in making these videos is that most people won't listen or make changes, but the few people that actually realize, if you kind of neglect your health or just take it for granted that you can just put anything into your mouth that's around you and go out to dinners and eat tons of bread and pastas and cereals and all these toxic fruit and vegetables, that nothing will happen to you. Well, people like me and people in the show Afflicted can show you what the end game looks like when that happens, because everybody thinks this isn't going to happen to them. But we're probably living right now in a massive epidemic of diseases which are underreported, and the reason making these videos is to tell people that there is people that are being affected, and even though we're not 100% sure why, it's possibly a time right now where millions of people are suffering and people are just ignoring it, and the old story goes on. Basically when you go to the medical community, they should be there for emergencies and for helping us when our life is threatened and we need something at the end game. They shouldn't be there for health, because they don't offer health. They offer drugs thrown at symptoms and surgeries at the final stages. We really need people on an individual basis to start not only studying and learning what's making people sick and all the stuff, but actually to put it into their daily life. So that means probably if you just take a couple hours to watch those two documentaries on Netflix, What's with Wheat, and Afflicted, and then try to watch with an open mind and realize that this is not just a few people on the show. it's millions of people that are going through these experiences, and we don't really know how to heal them. But unless we start actually investing some energy into trying to learn how to heal these conditions and realize that we're up against multinational companies and stuff that don't really want to do things that don't involve using drug companies and making lots of money. And that's another thing that's kind of crazy, that we live in a sick world where people view each other as something that you make money out of, that industries have propped up, and that making money out of people is foremost ahead of helping each other and stuff like that. So we basically need kind of have a revolution of taking our power back and learning to eat what's not just fun and makes you fit in with the group, but what actually gives health. And that needs to be studied in an unbiased way. And that's not really the experience that I've had since I've got sick. It's just, you get sick, people don't really want to listen to your troubles, so you kind of get isolated. You find a few people here and there that are compassionate, but they don't really know what to do. And you notice that not too much is formed in terms of organizations to figure this out. It's still profit-based, and profit-based people want to sell stuff to you. So today's blog is basically about just to watch those 2 documentaries on Netflix, tell others, but try to live it yourself. Like, try to see what it's like to take on protocols where you cut out products like wheat, dairy, and stuff, and just see what works for you and how to increase your health. Even if you're not sick, you might be operating on less of a percentage of your health than you notice, and when you change over, you might notice that you get a lot healthier. So that's basically today's thing. I myself have had 3 days where I've been really good. Today I'm kind of shaky. I don't know why, it just goes up and down like that. But I'm continuing with Carnivore Diet. It's day 36. I've basically been drinking mineral water and having beef. Today I had some healthy pepperoni without nitrates and stuff added, and so I've been sticking mainly to beef. So that's it for today. Try to take your power back by doing your own research and using yourself as a guinea pig to figure out what gives you health, and then try to share that. That's the only way things will change. Take care. Bye-bye.